Well, hello, my name is Dave, and today I wanted to go over a very simple project, and that would be to make some tongs. You know, after you've taken the time to make a nice salad bowl, and you're going to give it as a gift, it's a nice idea to enhance it with something. And these are very simple to make, very functional, and I'm going to take a few minutes to show you how to do it. Now, the reason we're doing this today, amongst other things, is I have a friend named Wyatt, and I put together a kit for him so that he could make a set for his mom and a set for his grandmother, who he calls Yaya. Now, Wyatt's a pretty incredible young man, and I put together this kit for him. I also made a toy for him to give to his younger brother, so that'll be fun. So this may seem a little overdone, a little too simple, but just remember in the background that this is really all for Wyatt. So let's stick with it, and I'll show you all the different steps and parts, and be amazed how easily you can put all this together and make a quality product. So let's take a moment, move the camera, and I'll show you the steps, okay? Thanks. Okay, so we don't need too much. Basically, there's only 1, 2, 3 pieces to make this, of course. And you can use any materials you like. I generally like to do a two-tone thing. I've made some in the past out of olive, maple, ficus, apricot, all kinds of things. But all you need to do is make yourself a template. Pretty easy. You need to create an 85-degree angle. Okay. I have a little list on the side here for small tongs. You want to make that inside piece 1 inch, medium-sized tongs 1.5 inches long, and large tongs 2 inches. Now the other thing you have to do is when you're working with it is each piece of wood's a little bit different. I cut these at about 1/8, and how well they spring, so you can determine by lengthening or shortening this piece, and that will determine how well or how easy they spring. So real easy to do. As you can see, here's a piece of maple. I just used a template to create the angle. Just go ahead and draw it out, piece of cake, and then I cut it on the bandsaw. I'll show you that in a minute. For making the tongs, like for example, here's a piece of koa. You look for some straight grain in it. Here's a piece of maple, has beautiful straight grain in it. So I'll go ahead and rip on the table saw a 1/8 inch piece, then determine how long I want it to be for the job I'm going to do. So let me show you a couple of steps, and we'll keep moving forward. Well, okay, let's make a couple of quick cuts here. Only take some moment. So I pre-measured my length of my tong, 10.5 inches, and won't take anything to cut it down. Now I've set the saw so it's going to cut just under 1/8 inch off. Always use a safety push stick. Now the way I set up the second cut so that I can get them exactly the same, I simply hold the piece I just cut up against the blade and then move the wood over so they're perfectly aligned. That way I know they are the same. So here we go. Just one last cut. And that is all it takes to make our 2 tongs. So the next step is go cut the center part out, and we'll get right to that, okay? So all we have to do now is mark our piece so we can cut it on the bandsaw. So these are long tongs, so we'll go to 2 inches, 85 degrees. Just a quick little, we got that side, then we flip it over and do the other side. All you gotta do is mark it, and that's it. So I've got 2 degrees, 85, 85, and then I can cut it out on the bandsaw and then shorten this piece if I need to. Okay, we're all set to cut out our centerpiece. Alright, there we have it. So now it's just a matter of put the tongs on it, see how they spring, and then determine whether this is too long or not long enough, whatever. So only take a moment. We'll be right back. Alright, I find the easiest way to do this is to simply put them together. Take a spring clamp, hold them, and then just test them out, and that'll work out just fine. So we've made this one all out of maple. It's going to be real nice. All we have left to do at this point is sand the 2 sides, sand this, glue them together, and everything's golden. Alright, so our next step is to sand our 3 pieces. I realize that not most people don't have a belt and disc sander set up. Of course, you can use a 3-inch disc sander, a 3-inch belt sander. Turn it upside down on its back, block it in, and use the sander that way. You can sand them by hand, of course, but I do have the advantage of this, so this is how I'll do it. Goes real quick. So you can see it happens real quick, not a problem. Easy sanding. And we put them back together, glue them up. The other thing I like to do is I usually use the sander and finish off these edges. That way. I'll also use the sander to round off the back, and then I put my finish on it. So that's about all it is to producing this. I'll show you how I glue them up here in a second, and we're almost done. Okay, Wyatt, I wanted to show you a way that you can do your sanding. You might need your papa's help, but you could use the edge of a table, use a board, or maybe the edge of your desk, but just take your clips, move your tong right to the very edge, and put the clip on. Then you can sand, you can catch the edge, get it all done, and go through all 3 papers that I gave you, alright? That'll make it smoother, smoother, smoother. Then, when you finish the 2 tongs, take it off, and then take the center piece with the shorter end here, clip it on, and then you can do the little sanding, okay? You actually probably don't need to do that as much as you could hold it down. And you only need to sand the top and bottom. Don't sand the sides. I already did those for you. Okay? So I'll show you how to glue it up next. It'll take a minute, but we'll be ready in a minute for you. Hang on. Okay, Wyatt, I want to show it to you one more time so you can see it up close. So you take your tong, put it on the edge of the board, take your clip, and if your hand's not strong enough to pull that, because that's pretty tough, have your papa do it. Just clip it on there like that, that way it doesn't move. Then you take your sandpaper and do your sanding. And on this piece, remember the tongs are going to go on this way. So you only want to sand the top part just a little bit, because once we get them glued on, we're going to sand them again so they're nice and neat. Okay, so that's how easy that is. Let's move on to the gluing now, okay? Let me just step away. Alright, let's talk about how we're going to glue this up. So the first thing we're going to do is take the centerpiece, put the wide end forward, put your tongs on it, and then take a clip, put one clip on the end, one clip on the top. Now in the kit, Wyatt, you've got these two little pieces of wood, and one is longer than the other, and that's so you have room for the clips. And their purpose is to put down between the two tongs, and it will, when we glue them together or glue up the whole project, it will keep the tongs from sliding because of this shape. So you just drop the first one in, and let's put the clip near the back, put it on there, and if it's too hard for you to squeeze, get Grandpa to do it. And then slide the other one in, put the clip on. So when you're done, I hope you can see this, these little pieces of wood will go right up against this portion right here, okay? See how both of them go there? And they'll keep the tongs from sliding when we do the glue up. Now the next thing we would do, since we have these on here, is take the pieces holding them together off the centerpiece, and this is where we're going to add our glue on these two pieces. Then we'll put it back together, put the glue on it, just slide them in there, put the little clip on the back, check your alignment, and put the clip back on the top. And then we'll let the glue dry, probably for about an hour, and then we'll give it one little more finish sanding to make sure there's no spots sticking up. You'll round over your back. I'll show you that in a minute. And then that's it. We'll put the walnut oil on it, and we'll do that twice, and your tongs will be all done, okay? So let's get on to the glue up stage. Alright, so I got to turn the camera off and set up again. Okay, we're ready to do our glue up. So what do we need? We need a wet paper towel. This is to catch any glue squeeze out we have, or you get it on your fingers. A little Tight Bond 2 glue, a yellow glue, and 4 clips, our 3 tong parts, and our 2 little strips, okay? So let's start. First thing we're going to do is get the strips ready. So we line everything up at the back. We put our first clip on, and that's all we need to do to start. Now I think it'd be a good idea to take your shorter clip, put it in there up against the edge right there, put your piece on there. It takes a moment, and take your longer clip, put it in there, just touching the edge, and you got hand room if you use this and do it this way. Of course, Wyatt, your hands are a wee bit smaller than mine. And that's all we have to do. So now all we have to do is add glue. So we take the clip off the back, get it out of the way, get our glue out. Remember what I said about you don't want to touch it right here against this edge. So we're just going to put a little glue on. We don't need very much. You can use your finger to spread it around. Yeah, I got a little too much on here, so I'll just wipe it on my wet towel. Okay, so that side's ready. See, it doesn't take very much work at all. Then we do this side, and we know it'll use a little less glue this time. There we go. Spread it around. I want to cover corner to corner, but remember, you don't want to get it up against that little piece there. So now we're ready. Remember, the fat end goes to the front. You bring it up there. Slide the pieces so that the little strips are touching. And then you add your first clip. You look at your little pieces. And you add your second clip. Make sure that they all stayed level, meaning that these two tongs are touching the tabletop together. Alright, so now we look at it, see if there's any glue squeezing out the bottom. There is, or usually is. Just use your wet towel. You just wipe off the glue. You're going to sand it again anyway, so don't worry about it. Alright, that's it. So now we wait about an hour, and we'll come back and take it out of the clips, do a little sanding, and then we'll add our walnut oil, alright? Now I did want you to notice that I went a little bit further on this one, and I sanded these tong ends so that they're tapered. Now yours are already done that way. Okay? So that's all we got to do. So I'll see you in about an hour, okay? Well, okay, we're here a little about an hour, hour and a half, and ready to take the clips off. So let's see what we got. There's our first good sign. No glue on the little supports. And there we have it. So now our first step is, I can see a little bit of glue right here. We'll sand that off. I'll go over to the sander and round off the back. And then we'll give one last quick sand to the outside, and then we'll put our walnut oil on, and we'll be able to call it done. So let's pop over to the sander and finish this off. The other way to do it, of course, is with your sandpaper. Hit the top. Remember, what you don't want to have happen is somebody snag their finger and get a splinter because you didn't sand this down well. And if you don't get the glue stain off, the shiny spot, when you go to put your walnut oil on or any other kind of finish, it won't attach to the wood properly. It'll leave a different looking section, and you don't want that. Now Wyatt, I had already rounded off here, so I'm going to take a moment and go over to the sander here and round off the back of this, okay? So I'll be right back. Okay, this should only take a moment. sand it nice and round. Now the only spot I got left to hit is to sand the insides here and here, and we'll be ready to put our walnut oil on, alright? Okay, let's take that minute and sand the insides. It's nice to do this on a flat surface. Don't have to worry about hurting the wood at all. So we're good there. Let's catch our ends a little bit. And we're good there. So, the only thing we got left to do is go through a couple of grits real quick. So this is 240. I believe you have 220 in your kit. And then the last one is the 320. Doesn't take very much. Alright, that's it. So we have 180, 240, and 320. We have a very nice, smooth, ready to use pair of tongs. And now we're going to set up to do the walnut oil, okay? I'll be right back. Well, okay, we're ready to finish our product. So we have sanded everything down very nicely, beautiful finish. Everything's ready to go, it's all been glued up. So now we're in the final steps, and we're going to finish it with walnut oil. Now today we're going to use Mahoney's Finishes walnut oil. Please understand this is a boiled product. It dries to a hard finish, a food safe finish. This is not the same as the walnut oil you use to cook with. Those oils will go rancid on a bowl or whatnot. They're also going to let more moisture through, that type of thing. So a walnut oil finish is a different kind of product. So all we need to do is apply some on your towel. So you have two paper towels, one for applying and one for polishing. And you do it quite liberally, quite frankly. It leaves a beautiful sheen. And that sheen's going to dull a little as we let it dry, but that's okay. This is a food safe finish. I keep saying that because it's important. This is a utility instrument for cooking. So you get all the way into the back and around the corners. You don't have to worry about getting it on your hands other than when you handle something afterwards, okay? So this isn't going to be like a paint or something like that and stick to your hands. It'll wash right off, okay? So that's all it took. And now, just pick it up one more time, and you take your dry towel, and you wipe it off. Now we're going to let it dry, and then we would apply a second coat. Now generally, the safest way to do this, or most reasonable way, is go ahead and let this dry until tomorrow. That finish will dry hard. If you got to do any light sanding, you're good. And then you put your second coat on, let that dry, and your project is completely done. So this turned out very, very nice. It's got beautiful grains all the way through it, inside and outside. It works real well. So as you can see, this was nice and easy, and basically a fun project to do. So let me switch things around and we'll do a wrap up. Well, here we go. We made it to the end. Finished our project, no problems. Didn't send anything flying or create any big problems. So what we ended up doing was making a pair of maple tongs, finished in walnut oil. Not like that's a secret. Turned out real easy. Now you notice this video ran a little long, of course. Generally this video would take about 5 or 6 minutes to put together. But we were doing this for my friend Wyatt. Now again, to remind you, Wyatt's a 9-year-old boy, lives up in Ione County. If you're ever there, he'll probably be the mayor or maybe the president of the United States when he gets a little bit older. Pretty sharp young guy. So I thought I'd take a minute and show you his kit. What made me think about it was this is a good idea to do for perhaps your own grandkids or your own children. It's a good father-son, father-daughter project. It's a good family project. So I wanted to show you what I did. So he's got 2 pairs of tongs in here. I just cut out the tongs. I cut out the centerpiece for him. He still has to sand everything, round everything off. He's got a set of spacer blanks here. So, and that's repeated on both sets. He's got his 4 spring clips that he needs. He's got a bag with Tongs II glue in it, 3 pieces of sandpaper, each a different grit, of course. And then he's got a bag that's got his Mahoney's walnut finish in it, and 2 towels to work with. And then the last thing, he does have a little brother. Decided to make a catch me toy. For some of you who are as old as me, that used to be a stick, a tin can, a piece of string, and something tied on the end of it. You flip the something tied on the end of it up in the air and try to catch it in the can. So I turned a handle for him, put a piece of ribbon in there, created a wooden dongle for him. And then the red cup is nothing more than the lid to a spray can. And then he's got a Phillips head screwdriver and a Phillips screw in there, and that would be just an introduction that he knows that there's a difference in, you know, flat heads and Phillips heads, that kind of thing. And then there's a full set of instructions in here for him. So I think we've done well. We certainly had a good time. Want to thank you for taking the time to watch. And you know, if this is the holiday season that you're watching this, I hope you have a great holiday season. And take great care of your family. Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.